reading information put up on websites, forums, and sources, there is a new term to address non-comic fans who pretend to be fans, only watch comic book movie or television adaptations, or buy merchandise and not actually know what it is that they have. The said person is called a casual, in reference to a casual fan, obviously. These are people whose knowledge of comics only come from the adaptations, which in and of itself are watered down sources from the comic material itself. Before the discussion goes any further, a fan of comics doesn't have to know every single event within comic history, or the information of any said character. But the most accepted term for a casual is that someone who does not really want to learn more about the comic source from which they claim to be a fan of. You can even argue that these people are only fans for the sake of the current comic book trend of watching movies, watching television, and wearing the tacky t-shirts that are currently popular as well. I've actually had conversations with people who only know of characters from adaptations, and when I mention the source material, most of the people that I've spoken with are somewhat interested in the original source. The inspiration for this narrative comes from online discussion of real fans talking to casuals about comics and movies, and the reception they get isn't as open as mine. I've read accounts of casuals blatantly not caring about the comics, the movies, or shows they come from, and even try to claim that they know more than the real fan who knows his or her information without question. Adaptations can be bad, because from a casual point of view they can get the wrong impression from a comic and think that's how it actually is within the comic. One of the best examples I've ever read online comes from when Spider-Man 3 came out. Someone on the internet retells a story that he had. He was speaking with a few friends at university a few months after the movie came out. The group of them were talking about the franchise when someone wearing the symbiote shirt walks past them. One of the friends calls that shirt the Gothic Spider-Man symbol. The person who types the story on the internet relates that the Spider-Man comic wasn't like that, and Peter had the comic due to an event, Secret Wars. But the casual mentioned that in the movie he had the greased hair, acted like an emo, and brooded in wine throughout the movie. The person who typed the story on the internet had to explain the difference between the movie and the comic. That's just one person and his story. Can you imagine an entire population thinking that the Gothic Spider-Man is the comic? Casuals might be too busy to read up on the source and just keep thinking that the adaptation is good or even better than the comics. I've explained to people that most of the comics are way better than the said movie. I personally have not seen recent comic book movies, and when people who've seen the movie talk about it to me, I say the comic trivia and that they're shocked to know that I know the story without even seeing the movie. And I just simply say that I've read the comic. And other times what I say is different because the adaptation changed the original story or the original story's outcome. A perfect example, Days of Future Past. Has this happened to you? Have you had to set the story straight with casuals? Are you a casual or real fan? What do you think of all this?